We are super excited about episode 48 as we welcome Noe with Vibez Golf Club to the podcast. Noe, thank you so much for taking the time and hopping on.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. So you started Vibez Golf Club. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the game of golf and kind of talk a little bit more about Vibez Golf Club itself?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is usually the story that I tell everyone, right? When we kind of start discussing kind of the inception of Vibez and where it came from. So just kind of a little quick background on me, and that background actually will touch on the rest of our team here that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But when I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, ended up going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And when I was there, I don't know how it happened, but in one of my business classes, I ended up getting tied in to a group project with Desmond Southward, which at the time he was a defensive captain. He was a safety on our football team. And so it was kind of funny because here, one of the football guys on campus, because there were celebrities on campus. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Sure.
Here, me and him get thrown in this group project together. And the first night we're meeting up. He shows up to this conference, the conference room where we had reserved, and the rest of our team didn't show up, and it was just me and him. And so, the football guys have all of these you hear all these stories about them, right? And they're untouchable and stuff like that. And so I'm a little nervous meeting him and hanging out with him because I go to every game on Saturday when I was in college. And so he's sitting there, and next thing you know, we're 3 hours in just talking about life. And me and him became very close friends. And through that's kind of how I got connected to now what, Vibez is today, because through him, I ended up meeting a bunch of the other football guys. And since I was kind of right in between, they were a little bit older than me, and then a lot of the guys that were younger were kind of in that same group. That's how I got tied in with all these guys, right? And so you fast forward, I graduated from the university. We all kind of scatter after college. A lot of guys pursued football, other guys pursued different passions. And I end up in San Diego. And I ended up in San Diego the same year that Melvin got drafted to the Chargers. And so me and Melvin in college, we were all part of the same group of friends. But in college, it wasn't me and Mel were hanging out one-on-one, but it was we were all in the same group. So we move out to San Diego, and I get out here. And I actually came out to work at the startup that, that today I'm still working at that startup today. I've grown with it, hopefully soon reaching an exit so that, they'll pursue Vibez full time. But I come out here right out of college, and just proximity wise, right, it's just Melvin and I out here. And so he and I and one of our other buddies, Kenzel, who's on our team, we end up it's just the three of us in California, and we just become really close friends while we're out here. And while these guys are doing their football thing, I'm like, man, I need to stay active. So I was like, I'm going to pick up golf, right? Because you move to California, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to surf or you're going to golf. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like the ocean. I do not trust the ocean. I'm not a fan of the ocean. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go golf, right? And when I started playing golf, the mentality behind me getting into the game was for all the wrong reasons, right? And what I mean by that is I wanted to play golf because for me, it was a status thing. It was you play golf when you've made it. You played golf because you're successful and things like that. So I was I need to go become good at golf. And then that's when I got into the game. And when I started playing, it does not take long for you to realize I kind of stick out in this environment, right? It's not common that you see somebody like me playing, especially too, because I was not one person that was oh, I can't wait to put on some khakis, tuck my shirt in. That just wasn't me. I grew up in the inner city. I grew up around an environment where we really care about what we wear in our fashion because it kind of tells everybody who you are, right? And it's a representation of yourself, how you present yourself. And I was I am not comfortable feeling I have to go to these golf courses and check off all these boxes so that
wear khakis and polos and
exactly.
Totally understand.
And so this is kind of where you start to get the whole vibe thing, right? I'm out there, I'm getting weird vibes from some people that see me walking up there with my Jordan golf cleats or untucked shirts and the different types of hats and stuff like that you just don't normally see on a golf course. But I was you know what, this is me, and I can't pretend to be I'm someone I'm not. And so over time, it just started building more and more to the point where there would be times where I'd catch myself acting a certain way to try to fit in. And I'm like, that's not a good feeling, right? That's not who I am. Why do I got to pretend to be something I'm not? And,
Sure.
and that was when I really, was like kind of internalizing that. And honestly, I know it was a crazy time for everyone, but when COVID hit, that was kind of like an eye-opening moment for me because, as you guys alluded to earlier, like I've always been really passionate about like the startup world and like starting companies that really can disrupt certain worlds. And so for a long time, I was just like, man, I am in this crazy position where I understand the startup world. I understand what it means to build a company. What are the pieces that you need to actually get something rolling and off the ground? And then I have access to like some of my friends like Melvin Gordon and other guys that have so much reach and access that are looking to do something outside of football. And it took me a while to kind of like bring these worlds together. But during COVID, it's kind of when that idea sparked, when it finally all came together, because another member on our team, Rob Wheelwright, during the pandemic, the first thing that opened up outdoors was golf, right? You started seeing a lot of people golfing, and then you also saw like the match on I forget what it was on, like ESPN
TNT.
or TNT, yeah.
Yeah.
And that match with like Tiger, Peyton, Tom Brady, and Phil Mickelson, like that right there brought a whole new audience to watch it because that was the first sporting event that was being shown on TV that was live. And so then, and by bringing like the football players, it brought also that kind of market in because it's like, I'm not watching it because of golf. I'm watching it because Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are out there, right?
Sure.
And so it brought all these new eyeballs to the game. And so I'm like looking at that and I'm like, man, that's interesting. Like there's been a bunch of people now that would never choose to watch golf that are watching it today. And then, here I'm on social media scrolling and I see Rob Wheelwright, who, he was like a wide receiver, African-American, dreads down like to his shoulder. I see him golfing in Columbus. And not just like he's not at a Top Golf or at a putt-putt course. He's legitimately on a golf course wearing his like Jordan tennis shoes, not even Jordan cleats, Jordan tennis shoes. His hair's down and he is loving it, right? Like he is having the time of his life and he's playing the game for what the game is. And that for me was like, oh my gosh, this is like a shift in that world. And this is a time where the world of golf really needs someone or a group of individuals to kind of shepherd in a new audience, right? And like that moment's kind of when all the light bulbs went off and I was like, this is how we go do this, right? And during that time, another thing that was really popular was video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you also saw the emergence of like content creation video game teams like FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, and those kind of guys, right? And that's when I was like kind of putting the idea of we can go recreate something similar like that. And instead of video games being our medium, we'll use golf as our medium to then go disrupt the game of golf and actually finally tap into markets of individuals that for so long have been kind of excluded from the game. They just need somebody they can relate to, that they feel is like that they feel they can look at and be like, you know what? That guy kind of looks like me. That guy grew up in my neighborhood. That guy could have grown up in my neighborhood. Like that type of feeling where it's like, those guys are doing it, I could do it too. And so that's when I was like, all right, let's go to the drawing board and let's go start to kind of really define how this pans out and how this works. And really that's how this came to be. I ended up reaching out to all the guys. Probably it was at the beginning of last year of 2021. I reached out to them and like me and Mel had already chatted about this prior, like when it first kind of came into my mind, where I was like, this is how we kind of go do it. And I was like, let me just go paint this out so that we have something with real structure, right? Because you need that structure. And then these are the pieces that we need. And so we set up a big team meeting with all of the guys and we're like, this is the idea. This is what Vibez Golf Club can be. Like who's in, and we ended up all flying out to which is funny, we flew out to Florida to do like our first capture event is what I call it, which is pretty much us golfing and filming it. So we flew out to Florida and I was like, this is how we go capture this content, right? And at this time the guys are still trying to connect the pieces of what this is. And when we were done, they were like the proof of concept for me, where I was like, you guys saw that about half of you guys have never cared for the game, right? But by the time we were done today, you guys had a blast. The energy was unreal. The content we captured was great. And now what do you want to do? You want to go play again, right? And I was like, that same feeling, we need to encapsulate that, and we need to share that with the world, because right now what golf is missing is someone that can actually generate real demand for the game versus just like, what is existing, right? Because I mean, golf every year kind of shrinks, except during the COVID year. But other than that, the sport continues to shrink. I was like, the reason why it's shrinking is because they're not actually attracting the audience that can really go change the game and actually increase the size of it, right? And so then we go on and we start kind of building from there.
Yeah, you don't talk yet. Yeah. So you got me all amped up. If you need like a Minnesota chapter, we're in. So I want to specify like the audience who don't know. We're talking Melvin Gordon, 2-time Pro Bowl, one of my favorite running backs. The football player, not just another, random Melvin Gordon. Like, this is like a big deal.
The third.
Yeah, well, technically it's the third, right? Like, this isn't just some random guy from Wisconsin. It's Melvin Gordon. That's how I found out about Vibez Golf Club. I volunteer at the 3M every year. I saw him wearing the hat, and I was like, what is he wearing? And then he has it linked in his Instagram bio. And of course, I follow him on like everything because like I say, he's one of my favorites. So I thought it was super cool to see, someone you wouldn't normally see swing a golf club represent a golf brand. And like you're saying, it's super cool to see golf be represented by people like Melvin Gordon, very positive, not necessarily someone you would picture playing golf. It's definitely going to open eyes up to people, especially those like younger kids who go, maybe it's not for me, but then they see, Melvin Gordon, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all these other sport athletes playing it. It might open the eyes of them and get more and more people interested. So you made a lot of really good points. I want to go hit my clubs, but Derek broke one. But that's a story for another day. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Like, you got me ready to just like run through a wall.
No, and I mean, and I appreciate that. And I mean, that's the energy we want to drive, right? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. When we kind of sat at the table and I presented to the team, like, this is why we can be successful. Like, to your point, the fact that it is Melvin Gordon, right? Like, I already knew we would have access, right? And then from there, it's like we have one of the key pieces to all this, which I have said time and time after, is Hugs, our videographer and photographer, like our head of production. Without Hugs, we wouldn't be able to go do this. And I said that from the beginning. I was like, being able to have that key resource internally, and not only have it internally, but for him to already have the eye of the content we're trying to capture, so that the people we're trying to showcase it to, like, find it attractive. I was like, that piece, that's impossible for us to go find someone and coach up. Hugs already had it. And the craziest thing is we were all in the same group of friends. I was like, all of the pieces that we need is within our group of friends. So we can go internally, like, resource this whole thing, internally fund this whole thing, and be able to give this our true, like, what do you want to, like I always say, give it the true feeling of authenticity, without people feeling like, oh, these guys are trying to appease other people. And like, we're not. Like, everything we put out is us. And that's what I'm saying. We can be real. We can be ourselves. And it's not like you have like an outsider telling us like, this is how you're supposed to run your brand. It's like, we can approach it in an unapologetic manner, because that's what people are attracted to. People are gonna be like, those guys are just being real. Like, and that's them, and that's attractive.
That's kind of exactly what this is, right? Like, we kind of started this. Luckily, Derek and I are both photographers, so we both have like an eye for this kind of thing. And between us, there's like 7 cameras. So like, there's always something for us to record or do. But like, when we started this, we wanted to be able to, work with brands exactly like you, who want to do it their own way and not necessarily the easy way, or, be authentic and not, sell out.
Or like, kind of like break the barrier of just that, like
there's like a stigma with golf, right? It's, generally like a wealthy person sport. It's generally, like you said, khakis and polos tucked in, the old man shoes. That's not at all what golf is anymore. Like I have, the Jordan 12 golf shoes. I have the Jordan 1 golf shoes. There's all this fun fashion and style in golf that is super appeasing to young people, but I feel like they're too afraid to start.
Yeah.
So I feel like something like you guys where, the hats are dope. I'm excited to see what you guys have coming up next, which we'll talk about later. And then, you have, the names and like the drive. That's exactly who we want to work with, especially for the podcast stuff.
Yeah, no. And that stuff that you touch on, right? Like, not only do we see it, right, but the world of golf is seeing it. Like, did you guys just see like the 2K like teaser trailer they just dropped for the 2K like PGA game? What is it? It is someone wearing Jordan 4s putting into
putt. Yep.
And I'm just like, the world of golf is changing, and like it's about either you're with it or you're not. Here's one thing, and I think, and it kind of threw me off a little bit, but I knew this is the world we're going into. When we went out to the 3M, which I know we're going to touch on here, when we're out to 3M, we've been working with the PGA on different projects, right? Because the PGA has like this a group that they've started called Make Golf Your Thing. It's like a social channel that you guys see on social media here and there. And we had been connected with them since like the end of last year. And I quickly realized I was like, this feels like this is how the PGA is kind of starting to dabble in this. Like I keep referring it to like this urban world of golf. They're kind of like dabbling it in this way. And so when we went out to the 3M, the PGA had a team out there, and that's where we filmed that interview with Melvin and Dare, where we were just talking about vibes. And they went and they posted this on their Twitter account. So the PGA posted this on their main channel, and all of a sudden it just blows up. There's like tons and tons of like, it's Twitter. People will say their thoughts, right? So I started reading some of the comments in there, and it's wild to me that there are still people that are so resistant to change, but I'm like, I'm sorry. Like this world of golf is going to be way different in 2 years. It's going to be a lot more, what do you want to say? Like, especially with like other things that are happening in the world of golf right now. I'm just saying like there's going to be so much disruption in this game that what you see today versus what you're going to see in 2 years is going to be so different. And I really feel like a lot of people ain't ready for that. But I'm like, hey man, we're in 2022 and we're still having conversations about how do we make the game more diverse. Something is clearly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. Not to put you guys on the spot here, but who's the better stick out of the whole group as far as golf?
The best player on our team is Darius Feaster. So
Darius Feaster, okay.
Darius Feaster is he's very good. So there's a lot of golf courses obviously down in SoCal, and Balboa is a public course here in San Diego that's very popular. He shot a 78 there the other day. And that to me, I like he and this is just funny because Feast is not a guy that gets rattled easily. Like he's just like, I'm locked in. And if you guys will see him on our social channel. His
game is so good that like the fire trucks can hear him right now. It's just
no, so Feast is like the energy of our team. If you see any of our social posts or anything, the guy with the most energy, that's Feaster. And he texted us. I think he was like through 12 at some point, and he was like, I'm about to shoot. He said something crazy. Like, I'm about to shoot like a 74 out here. And we're like, okay. And then he sent us a picture of the scorecard, and I almost wanted to say something, but I'm like, yo, you really are about to shoot like this ridiculous round at Balboa. And I just send us the scorecard at the end. And he does. He sent us the photo at the end, and he shot a 78. And I'm like, the rest of the team, we got miles to catch up. But like the benefit of having somebody like Feaster on our team is when we do our head-to-heads, like the one we did with Justin Simmons in Denver, the one we did with Keenan Allen recently down here in LA, like Feast gives us a chance every time to compete. So that makes us feel good.
Did you guys kind of pick up the game all at the same time, or did Melvin play has he played for a while, or is everyone kind of on that same page? Like they just started not too long ago?
we've all started at different stages of our life, which is also really cool about this. Like Feaster, for example, he's been playing since he was a kid, on and off. And then Tanner as well, he played for a while. I picked it up when I moved out here in 2015. And at that time, I used to bring Melvin and Kinzel to the driving range with me. But back then, the mentality for them was like, I just need to get the ball the furthest I can hit it. That was what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
but
just trying to hit it a mile.
I'm like, that's not the game though. Like, but they didn't care. It's like, I'm just trying to just whack this ball. Right. And then a couple of the other guys like Dare, he started playing probably like around college time. Cause a lot of them at Wisconsin would go play at like the local golf courses with other friends and stuff like that, but it just never stuck. But I can say like within this last year that we've launched Vibez, right? That's when most of us have come back to a point where we're playing consistently. And what's really cool is we have a couple of guys like Melvin, like Darius Hillary, Austin Trailer. Like these guys are all pretty new to the game. And so it's kind of cool seeing that progression, right? Which also I think really benefits us as we're trying to showcase like some of this footage, because then you have people looking at these guys like, man, you got these like NFL athletes, right? NFL caliber athletes that suck at golf. I can go beat them. I let me go play, right?
Sign me up. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sign me up. I can go beat them. And that right there gives that people that sense of confidence, right? Because honestly, I say this all the time, when you boil down Vibez, boil down to like the simplest terms of what we're trying to do, it's like we're just trying to show the game of golf and allow someone to go from a mindset of golf isn't for me, golf is whack, golf is a rich man sport, like those type of mentality that a lot of people have right now, is going from that type of mentality to like, I can golf if I want to. That's literally our goal. It's just like just switching that mental, that mindset from like, this isn't for me to like, hey, I could go do it if I want to. Right. And that's what we're trying to get to.
I love the hats. So you're on your website, you have 4 different hats. The limited edition, the red hat, the Vibez Go Crazy tournament hat.
Those are sweet. Everything
cool.
is really nice.
Very cool. So we kind of want to know what's the future with the merch. Are you going to do some polo shirts, some other hats? What's your guys' plans for the apparel?
Yeah, we're big fans of stickers.
So stickers too. Yeah, absolutely.
Stickers are great.
I'll send some out to you guys. I have.
There we go.
Wow. It's like we read your mind.
So on the merch piece, right? The merch side, one of the things that we're really trying to do is challenge the status quo in regards to golf, right? And what you're wearing, because so right now Dare heads our merch team, and then a couple of the other guys assist him on that side. So like Melvin's very involved with the merch, Darius Hillary, Austin, like the whole mentality behind the merch we're trying to put out is that this is something that you can wear on the golf course or you can wear it out, right? Like, it's like we are a golf brand, but we want people to feel like, hey, you know what? I'm going to rock this Vibez hat when I go out tonight or when I'm going to go do whatever, because the guys, they're not going to wear something that they don't want to wear. So you guys, I mean, I know that I can't share too much behind the scenes stuff, but like there's been times where we'll be ready to like purchase, like we're going to go do this batch of merch and last minute we scrap it because one of the guys is like, man, I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to wear it. And it's just like, we are literally moments from like getting this ordered and we've been mocking it up, designing it for weeks, and now we're pulling it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with that because you guys validate like our merch. Like if you guys aren't willing to wear it when you're, walking down, on game day or you're hanging out with your boys and stuff like that, why are we going to put it out? Like everything we put out needs to be something that all of the guys on our team want to wear and want to go showcase. So the focus on the merch is going forward. It's gonna be very small batch, right? Because at the end of the day, Vibez, we don't want to get put into this box of like, oh, you guys are a merch company, or you guys are just an events company, or you guys are just this. Like the thing that we love right now is that we have so much flexibility to really go do different things and collaborate with different brands. So it's like, on the merch side, we're just going to drop small batches of like stuff that we really like. Once it's sold out, we'll go back to the drawing boards and put something else out that's clean and different, right? So coming up here, the merch that we are dropping a couple t-shirts, right? And the thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get to this concept of like, and it's like we would call it the range tee, right? So it's like a t-shirt you would wear to the range, right? But when you see the t-shirt, it's like, actually, I would wear that anywhere, right? That's a clean t-shirt. And so we're dropping a few t-shirts here coming up, followed up by a couple other hats. And then the two things that we've been getting a lot of demand for have been our bucket hats. As you guys have seen, some of the guys have been wearing bucket hats. And then the other one is the dad hat. So we had her Vibez event in Scottsdale back in March, which was just focused on like, let's bring out a bunch of women out to come play and expose them to the game as well, right? Like we were doing all these events and a lot of our like friends were showing up, but then one of our guys, Darius, one of his friends, she had reached out to him and she said, hey, this is dope, all this stuff you guys are doing, but what about the girls? Are you guys gonna do anything for the girls? And so then that's when we're like, you know what, let's go do it. Her Vibez, we're gonna go do it in Scottsdale. We had a bunch of people out there for that, but we had a bunch of hats made just for that event, and a bunch of people wanted those hats, but we're like, well, like we only made enough for the event, right? I was like, the whole point of it was for the event. And then now we're like, all right, we'll drop a hat like that. So we have like an official Her Vibez hat that we're going to be dropping. Hopefully we're shooting kind of towards the end of this month, beginning of September. And so those are the three main things that we're kind of focused on dropping here in the near future. And then, you know, one thing that Dari is working on kind of exclusively is we want to do like our first, like, what do you want to call it? Like collection. So like a collection from like hat, top, bottom that we will release later into probably like October, November timeframe, and do a whole event around that. So on the merch side, I really kind of give I give Dare creative liberty on whatever he wants to do. Like, hey, like you will wear this if you want. If this is something you would wear out to, you know, one of the football games or whatever. Go crazy.
I'm glad you mentioned the in Scottsdale with the women, because we had Four Gales Golf on a while back on our podcast, and the same thing. Like that's, again, he kind of talked about it earlier. We are all about growing the game of golf, and so we on our podcast we're all about trying to get different Instagram accounts, different businesses, whether it's you're CEO of a company, a clothing brand. Well, we brought Four Gales Golf on, and the same thing. It's kind of to try to get rid of, it's a guy's sport. It's a guy's game. And so they put together a really cool Instagram account, and now it's turned into basically like they do like range meetups and tournaments. So we had them on the podcast to talk about that a while back. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because same thing on our end. We're also like my wife, she's not a big golf fan at all. Super supportive, but like she likes to go to, like, we have a place called Three Jack down the road. Like she'll go to that place and have a drink and hit some golf balls, or Top Golf, for example. So I do like that, where it's not just all about men and the, Saturdays are for the boys, etc. I mean, obviously they can be for the boys, but at the same time, like we're trying to break that barrier of not only just the apparel, the rich man sport, but we also want to make sure that we can, include the females as well, make them feel comfortable and welcome. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because like I said, we're both like on the same wavelength when it comes to trying to grow golf itself and trying to include everyone and try to break that barrier.
Yeah, I don't have a wife by any means. Nowhere close.
Not a bad thing.
No. I mean, some of the best golfers in the world are women. So I think catering to them is great. We had Four Gales Golf on, and they're doing a fantastic job growing the game for women. They do little range meetups. They're actually based out of California. I don't remember where exactly, but do you remember? Well, you're a lot of help. But yeah, like I think growing the game is super important, because like you're saying earlier, golf is shrinking, and it's super unfortunate because it's been around a super long time. To an extent, it's just like baseball, where baseball is starting to shrink as well. So getting the game in for like the younger kids, stuff like that. But going back to the shirts, you're saying Dare, is kind of the creative director in a sense, right?
Yep.
So where do you guys come up with the inspiration or the ideas for all the, whether it's the hats, the shirts? Does he have like a background in design or?
Honestly, it just comes from, I mean, let's be honest, the world that they're in, right? Like playing in the league, right? It's all about fashion. And
Right.
now more than ever, right? There's so much hype around what the athletes are wearing to the stadium. Like, think about it. There's like literally Instagram accounts that just capture like game day fits, right? Like people walking out into what are they wearing today? And it's just kind of like, what are the trends and stuff like that. So Dari and Melvin are very like about like, what am I wearing today? I have to be making like a statement when I'm out there and people are seeing me. I have to be looking good, right? Because I mean, let's be real. These guys as individuals are their own brand as well. And so they're, when they're walking up to the stadium, there's photographs being taken and stuff. So they want to look good. And so I think Dari's like been the one on our team that's more like in tune with that world. Him and Melvin collectively, but like Dari's one that I've been with Dari once where I'm like, hey man, we need to take a photo real quick. And he's like, no. I'm like, why not? And he's like, no, not with this. I'm wearing this. I'm not taking a photo. I was like, bro, we literally just need to capture a photo. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. And it's just like, but it's like, I get it. That's his self-image. That's his brand. He has to, he wants to make sure that anytime there's a photo being taken, that it looks good. And so when we were kind of putting the different roles together, I was like, Dari, this is on you. Obviously he'll go mock up designs and things like that. And then he brings it back to the team and then we'll have a conversation around it. But yeah, honestly, in terms of background, it's just his taste and we respect, he hasn't missed yet. Like you guys pointed out earlier, the Vibez Go Crazy hat. So one of the things that we like to do is at all our tournaments, we like to have like a tournament exclusive hat. And it's just like, we're going to make X amount for this tournament and whatever's left over, we'll sell on our site and that's it. We're never making the hat again. And Dari came up with this hat. And the first time when we were all talking through this, like a lot of the guys were kind of fighting back, like, no, we can't do that. Like, this is why, and yada, yada, we're going back and forth. And we finally got it mocked up. And when we received the hats and we looked at them, we were just like, wow, like, okay, like we get it now. And these things went crazy, like no pun intended. When we were there, everybody at the tournament loved it. And then we were just, let's throw them on our site and let's just sell the rest of them. And I think honestly, as of like last night, we had one or two left and then that's it. We're not going
to add those to the cart.
Yeah, we might be the last two.
I mean, I would honestly jump on it because we technically had 6, but we had to pull 4 for a specific reason, of what partnership that we're working on. So we pulled 4 out of inventory and shipped them out. But yeah, I think there's only 2 left.
Do you want to talk about, other than the merch side, because I know you mentioned you don't really want to necessarily just be a merch company, and you talked about there's like a membership, or can you hint on that and talk a little bit about it, what that's all about?
So ultimately what I'm trying to do is Vibez right now, we're kind of in this phased approach, right? So we have like phase 1 was pretty much establish the brand and grow the brand, right? So the whole focus around what we've been doing over the last year is like hosting events, posting on social media, right? Capturing content so that we're kind of telling our story and attracting the audience, right? And establishing ourselves as like, this is who we are. And so with that, like I said, that comes like with the events that we host, the merch that we drop and the content that we create. But the whole focus on that is because we're trying to build a community, right? And once the community is established and we grow this community, the next thing we want to do is then launch this membership, because the day that somebody raises their hand and said, you know what, I want to go golf. Like I'm interested in going in golfing. Like we want to make the onboarding into golf as seamless as possible, right? So, and by that, it's like if you're a Vibez Golf Club member, which we, like I said, we'll launch the membership next year. But as we're getting to roll that out, it's like as a member, you will have access to different brands and golf courses that we're partnered with, where it's like, I'm a member, I can go play at all these different golf courses across the country. There'll be like, where do I buy my gloves? We have partnerships with people that sell gloves and things like that, right? So it's like creating this ecosystem so that a member has access to everything they need to go from I'm interested in playing and now I'm playing. And then the community factor, right? Imagine now you're in Columbus, Ohio, and you're like, man, I want to go play golf. And you guys probably know this. And this is one of the craziest things that people don't talk about. If you think about the people you play golf with routinely or most often, it's always about less than like 8 people. Like, it's kind of crazy to think, but you never really branch out. You're always kind of with the same group, a mixture of the group, but it's always the same group of guys. And so what we're trying to push is the sense of like a pickup game where it's just like, hey guys, I'm in Columbus today. Who else is in the area? Is there any tee times available on these golf courses? How about 4 of us get together and go play and meet new people, right? Because now you have like-minded people, a part of this, this, like, it's a social club, right? Where it's like, I'm a part of this club now and I can go hang out with other people and go play anywhere I'm at. And that's that mentality, right? And it's like I always say, it's a membership with no bounds, because, like I said, it'll be free to join. Anyone can be a part of it, and now you can go play anywhere across the country with new people and have a blast doing it.
That's actually like such a, like, I've heard people like talk about that idea, but it's actually super cool to see somebody try to bring that to life. Because obviously, like, yeah, we're in Minnesota. Not exactly what people would call a golf destination by any means. But I think earlier we were talking about, like, we're one of the biggest golf per capita states, right? Something along those lines, where we have the most golfers per capita. And yeah, the more I think about it, the more, right, there's like 4 guys. One of them is Derek. Like, that's it.
It's very limited.
Yeah.
It's a small. And I will say though, if you're with, sometimes you get 3 guys, right? You can't get a 4th. And beforehand, there's that same stigma.
Yeah,
or whatever.
there's that stigma where you don't want to have a single join your team. Exactly. Where now that kind of eliminates it. If you know they're going to be like-minded, they're, part of the same club, that they tend to like the same things you do. It kind of eliminates that whole kind of awkwardness.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. Cause it's like, and that's so fun. I like how you mentioned that. It is funny. You're like, man, we're going to have a 4th join the group. Like, and then oftentimes that 4th that joins is super cool and you get along very well. And it's like, there's been times where I come home and I'll tell my wife, man, I just played with this one guy. And then you start just telling the story of that person you played with, because you're like, that guy was actually awesome. And the chances of you playing with him again are kind of slim. Yeah, you might exchange numbers in that day, but then you go back to, the usual. It's like, well, I'm going to first go to my select 8 group of guys and find out who wants to play from that group, right? And that's what we're trying to get to a point where it's like, no, let's get rid of that. Like, let's try to find a way where you can just feel like you're playing like a pickup game of basketball, but instead it's like you're going to go get a round of golfing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I would say back in the day, I used to get so nervous because, like, having a 3rd or even, a random pair. Because, like, if me and Dom we got paired up. Obviously, if it's a busy time during a Saturday, you're going to get paired up with somebody. Oh, it happens all the time. And there's always, like, sometimes there's, it's like anything. If I don't want to throw the vibes out there, but if it's good vibes, man, pun intended there, like, it's a good time. But sometimes there's that group of people, or that one guy or 2 guys, whatever it might be, that might just be like not in that same boat, right? And it just kind of kills the whole vibe of the round of golf. And I'm a true believer in that, like, if you have that positivity, it rubs off, and if you have that negativity, it rubs off as well. I 100% believe that. And there are some times where you get paired up with a couple of negative Nancy's, or and that just kind of can make or break your round. And not that it should, but it does sometimes. And so I have kind of been more open-minded. Not that I never was, that I wasn't open-minded, but I try to embrace it a little bit more and try to engage in more conversations, because at the end of the day, they're not on the PGA Tour. I'm not on the PGA Tour. We're here really just to have fun and have a good time. And so I've kind of, as a competitive person myself, I try to, like, gap that bridge by, like, I'm not trying to beat this person. I'm really trying to just beat the course and beat myself, because that's, so I like that idea. I think it's a really good idea.
That's such a cool take on a membership, because a lot of times when people propose a membership, it's like, hey, you pay X and then you get XYZ. The fact that it's free and it's basically like, I don't want to say like a social networking type thing, but in a way it kind of is. And that's kind of unique of itself. I've never seen somebody try to take it that way before.
Right, because I mean, this is the thing, and the reason why I want to take this approach is mainly because oftentimes when people talk about like, you know, going back to kind of like the inception of Vibes, when people talk about the lack of diversity in the game of golf, right? The first thing that people always point to is like, they always say, well, it's like it's not very accessible, right? They always focus on the accessibility problem. It's expensive, golf courses are expensive, things like that, right? And that's kind of where I was like, no, the issue is not in access right now. The issue is that just there's no demand for the game. Because I promise you, you drive enough foot traffic to the game, enough new people to the game, someone will solve that accessibility problem. It's just business. Like people are smart enough to be like, hey, now there's a bunch of people playing golf. I want to get into that market. How do I go do that? And so for our focus is like, let's go generate demand first before we point at this and say that this is the problem. Let's go get new people into the game. And the best way to do that is to build community and build community in a way where like people aren't afraid to kind of take that first step into the game and be like, you know what? If you guys are down, like I've never played before, but I know that Vibes, the whole mentality behind Vibes is anybody can come out and play. Does anybody in the group got a spare set of clubs? I'm happy to come run around with you guys. It's my first time going out there, but I know what you guys believe in. I'm down to go play around with you guys, right?
I think the coolest thing about golf right now is you kind of hit on it earlier. There's, right now there's so many cool kind of influencers, may not be the right word, but all these really, talented and fun individuals getting people into the game. Like Roger Steele is a great example. Rogers, I mean, I met him at the 3M. Super nice guy. There was like a brief conversation, but just super dope. Rory Blackroy, is that his name?
Yeah.
Super dope,
he's
dude.
awesome.
Hilarious guy. Seems like he's the nicest guy in the world. I've never talked to him. I think Derek has a little bit. And like the guys from Good, like they're like, I don't want to say they're a good like example of what Vibes on the golf course should be, but like if you watch any of their videos, it's all super positive. They're all building each other up. Yeah, there's a little competitiveness, but that tends to happen, right? Like Derek's always coaching me on the golf course, telling me to keep my head down, this, that, and the other. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try to kick his ass when we play close as a pin. Like it's just like the competitive nature. Ooh. But it's just it's part of the vibe, So I think that's super cool. And golf's in such a really cool place right now. And brands like you guys just kind of further strengthen where golf can go.
Yeah, I think the other. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the other cool facet to it is that some of these influencers, companies, brands, whatever it might be, they're not professional golfers, right? And that's the cool thing. People are still watching them. They're putting out content that an average Joe or whoever, or maybe somebody is a hack out on the golf course can relate to, because I mean, the good guys are really good. However, they're not professionals. You know what I mean? But there's other people out there, influencers that are putting out really cool content that aren't necessarily professionals, and they're actually getting a really big engagement on getting followers and views. So I think that's the other cool thing about social media. The golf community itself, we've preached this literally almost on every episode, meeting people from all over the world through Instagram. And it's one of the coolest things about golf. Melvin Gordon, he's a superstar football player. And
you say athlete.
Yeah, I was gonna say athlete. Yeah. And he's, rocking Vibez Golf Club. Like he's got golf gear. Like you said, people can relate to that kind of thing. And I think that's what's so cool about social media. You say, hey, I saw Melvin Gordon is at the 3M Open rocking, you know what I mean? It's things like that where, again, going back to, we're trying to break that barrier of you don't have to be super rich or have to be really good to play the game. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. You get better every time you get out there, right? Like that's what's fun about golf is like, Melvin is the prime example, man. Last year when we started getting serious about the game, when it wasn't about hitting in the ball the furthest, it actually is like, this is how you play 18 holes, right? Seeing Mel go from like what he was playing like last year to what he's playing like now, to the point now where he's like actually competing. I'm like, that's awesome to see. And it's like, and it's so funny because you see the frustration. You guys obviously have seen a bunch of the videos of him where he gets like super flustered and stuff like that. It's hilarious, but that's real. Like that passion,
Authentic.
that competitiveness of like, I gotta be good at this, right? I have to find a way to get better. And the thing about golf is like, you can't just get better overnight. This is not something that you just walk into and you're good at. It's building blocks every day. It's like you work on a different part of your game and you keep leveling up. And, all of our guys from where we're at last year to where we're at today, you've seen those strides. And that's what's fun about the game.
What is your favorite pair of J's to rock on the course?
Right now, I ain't going to lie to you. And you've probably seen it in a bunch of our videos. I have the Oreo 4, the Oreo 4s. That is my favorite. Like, or the cookies and cream or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's true. Love it.
I grew up calling them Oreos, so we're going to stick to Oreos. Yeah. I shouldn't say I'm not that old. I still grow up. Yeah. Derek's the old guy.
Yeah.
I'm the old one. Yeah.
Right now, the 4s have been definitely that shoe for me. But also, like you guys said, I'm a sneakerhead, and I have so many pairs of sneakers, and I've been buying, and I have now, I have the cool gray 11 golf shoes are also, I really like those. I've worn those a few times. The ones that I thought I was going to like that I don't like as much were the Jordan 5s. I got like the black and red and gray ones, and they just look a little chunky on my feet. And so that's why I was like, I'm not a big fan of those. But right now, the 4s, those are so nice.
If I can't wear them with shorts, I don't tend to like them, just because we don't really have much of like a golf season that requires pants. Because at least in Minnesota, it snows, and then it doesn't really like the golf courses don't really open until it's warm. Right. And even then, it's like I'll wear pants like once or twice. Get a pair of the 12s. 12s are super comfy.
I like the 12s. Those are sick.
Yeah. So I have the Taxi 12 golf shoes. They're super comfy. Like, honestly,
they look heavy, but they're not. They're actually super lightweight for what at least from what
he doesn't have them. I have.
Yeah, he's got them, and I like just feeling them. They look heavy, like from afar, but when you actually have them in hand,
that full
lightweight.
They have like legitimately, they have the same tooling as the normal 12s do. So the 12s are really comfortable. So if you can put like golf spikes on that, and then you can imagine walking on them, they're super nice.
I just bought the ones, the lows, the Chicagos, and I like those. I actually play with them. I played like 3 rounds with them and super comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I can't complain. Yeah, I like those.
I have 2 of the all white ones because I didn't mean to buy 2, but I bought 2.
That's right.
That's a whole thing.
Custom. They can custom them. Though.
Yeah, trust me, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Those are. Yeah.
Yeah, to say the whole Jordan like golf shoe thing is just awesome. It's cool to see PGA Tour players wear them too.
Yeah. And you're starting to see, like, I mean, it's everywhere now. Every weekend, like, it's kind of funny when you're watching the PJ, because the PJ still, like, it's a little, the term's a little slower, right? Commentary is a little low and quiet and stuff like that. But I always do love when they like start zooming in on like the people's shoes, and some of the comments just make me laugh. But no, it's definitely starting to take the game over, right? Like, you're starting to see that a little bit more.
We're starting to see streetwear kind of infiltrate. Well, maybe not infiltrate's the right word, but we're starting to see streetwear kind of merge.
Well, yeah, wasn't Brooks wearing some Off-White stuff that one time?
I don't know. I just remember VJ, or not VJ. What's his name? Harold Varner.
Oh yeah, Harold Varner.
Harold Varner. He wears Jordans. Bubba. I mean, I'm a big Bubba guy. Bubba's got the Jordans.
I think Keenan does too. Keenan. Yeah, he's starting to come around now too. He was like big name, then he fell off a little bit, but now he's starting to coming around again. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Brooks was rocking some Off-Whites a while back.
Yeah, he's worn the Off-White stuff. He's worn the Nocta stuff, the Drake stuff.
Yep.
Like I've seen that. Yeah, and then Varner, he's a Jordan athlete, so everything he wears is Jordan, which is really dope.
I think Bubba might be like an unofficial official type thing, because he's got like, they send him like custom shoes for him, but I don't think he's officially signed to Jordan Brand or Nike or anything like that. So I don't know. Bubba's just kind of Bubba. That's kind of the beauty of him.
Yeah.
Speaking of golfers or professional golfers, do you have a favorite golfer that sticks out?
I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite golfers has always been Jordan Spieth. And I think it's so random, but I think when I started to some extent paying attention to the game of golf, Jordan was at his peak. And so over the years, I started to kind of, I would watch it here and there. It was never something I would watch all the time. But then when I got really back into the sport, it was kind of when he's kind of in this rebuilding mode. And now I just find myself just rooting for the guy. Like, I'm like, come on, Jordan, we got to get Jordan back to his old days and stuff like that. So Jordan, he's one of my favorites. And then out of the younger guys, obviously it's fun to watch, like Colin Morikawa. That dude's fun to watch.
He's so
play.
good.
And then, and I mean, there's so many guys in the game that are entertaining, but one of the guys that to this day, I give a lot of credit because for the most part, he's always himself, is JT. JT, like he's always himself. And I love that. When me and Dari, we went out there, the PJ hosted us out there for the players. And so me and Dari went down there, and that's the one player I want to go see. I was like, I got to go see JT like tee off, like just being able to see him there. And it's crazy though. That was one of the craziest things for me. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. So this past year was probably the first time I've actually been to like big tournaments like that. And it is wild to me, like unlike other sports, how close you are to them. And for me, I'm thinking I am about to drive this ball with like 100 people circled around me in this like, and then not only that, but they're lined down the path. Hey, I don't really think people take that into account of how mentally challenging that is, where these guys got to stay locked in. That's crazy.
Oh, especially like if they do hit like off to the second cut, and like everyone just runs around the ball and crowds around it. And so, yeah, like you said, like you see like an aerial view and there's hundreds of people, and like they even have to like the caddies are like, hey, can you move out of the way? It's like, dude, you are about to get blasted in the face with a ball. Like you are playing with fire, my friend. But these guys are so good. It's like it's like they're playing by themselves with their caddy. And
they're locked in.
They are. And that is, golf is probably one of the toughest sports for a ball just sitting there still. It's one of the most difficult sports there is, and most of it's mental. If you have a developed swing and you can hit a ball, 99% of it is so mental, and that's the beauty of the game itself. You can go out there and shoot a 79 or a 78, and you could go the next day and shoot a 92. And that's not that I shoot a lot in the 70s, but it's not very often. But I've been dialed in, and then I'll go play another round. I'm like thinking I'm Mr. Rory McIlroy out there going to blast a ball, and then I shank it off the deck. So that
go from Rory to me. And
humbling. Yeah. Golf is a humbling sport.
That's where you quickly, like anytime I get out there and I start struggling, I'm like, this is a tune-up round. This is just a tune-up round. Me just been out here. The next round I play, that's when I'm gonna be locked in.
Exactly. It's like if you hit if you're like 100 yards out or like 150 yards out and you hit it short of the green. It's like, hey, I hit it short on purpose. I'm working on my short game, working on my wedge game. That's all I'm doing. You just got to look at the positives. Exactly. But no, we appreciate you taking the time. We do typically ask a food related question on the pod. You're out in San Diego. You originally, you grew up in Milwaukee, you said. So we would like to know, I'm speaking for Dom too, because we always talk about food, but
I love food.
Foods, we always talk about foods at some point. So we want a restaurant that you'd suggest in Milwaukee, and a restaurant. It could be any type of food, in a restaurant in San Diego. What if we were to come out there? Where would you take us?
And we're not too far from Milwaukee, so maybe we'll go.
There we go. Yeah,
well,
something like that.
I'm gonna twist it up for you guys a little bit. I'm gonna get controversial here, just because of my loyalties to the Midwest and California. So I'll answer your first question, and then I'll go to the next one.
I like it.
So in Milwaukee, favorite restaurant out there, honestly, like one of the craziest things is like I grew up in Milwaukee as a kid, right? So I only know Milwaukee through that frame, through that lens. So it's like I know what I know. And that's it. So in Milwaukee, probably one of my favorite restaurants to go to is Sobelman's. It's like that, like a cheeseburger spot down. I think it's by it's been a while. It's by the Milwaukee River. I think it's down like near downtown. Sobelman's, great cheeseburgers.
Sobelman's?
Sobelman's.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
And
gonna
then,
Google this.
Yeah, Sobelman's is really good. It's always ranked up there as like top burgers to go try out in Milwaukee. Sounds like I'm a big burger guy, which is part of the second question I'm gonna throw on you guys. But then out here in San Diego, man, I'm a food guy. It just depends what you're in. Out here, there's so many restaurants I love. Like big fried chicken guy. So there's like a ton of good fried chicken. So there's a couple to check out here. There's one called the Crack Shack. The Crack Shack down here in San Diego probably has some of the best fried chicken and fried chicken sandwiches. So that I would say, if you're in that kind of mood, go to the Crack Shack. If you're in a fancy dinner type of mood, there's a new restaurant that just opened up in downtown near the Midway, which is like a popular like area of downtown, called Seneca. It's like this Seneca. It's on top of this rooftop that oversees like the pier, so you can see like the ships and stuff. It's awesome and great food. So that
was that a steakhouse?
No, that's just an Italian restaurant. And then I'm going to end it on a steakhouse. There's a steakhouse called Born and Raised downtown that it's hard to get into. Like you got to do like reservations out like a few weeks in advance or whatever. But if you can ever get to Born and Raised, do it.
Born and Raised. Okay.
So I love it. So San Diego, I got you all day. But here's the one thing. Have you guys been out to California?
I have.
No.
Yeah, I've been out to San Diego once. I've been out to LA. So I've been out there a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't take me anywhere.
These were a long time ago. This was before I met him.
Well, next time you guys are down here, first of all, give me a heads up. Let me know. We can get the guys down here. We can go get a round of golf in.
For sure.
The big thing that I heard my entire life was In-N-Out Burger is the best cheeseburger, right? And I'm going to put this out. Like, I am a Midwest boy, and I love Culver's through and through.
Oh, yeah.
We have Culver's out here. And so it's funny because a lot of people in the Midwest are like, you're crazy. It's all about In-N-Out. But I've been out here for some time now, and I will take a Culver's butter burger with cheese over any In-N-Out burger any day of the week. And, like, I get dogged for it all the time. People, like, are like, you're crazy. But I'm like, there is no way that you can compare an In-N-Out burger and those fries to, like, a Culver's cheeseburger with those cheese curds. So I'm gonna tell you guys
that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
That's not a hot take. We're all from the Midwest. I fully support you.
Have you had In-N-Out though?
No, but I have. But like, have you had Culver's?
Like, I don't eat fast food anymore, but yeah, I've had it a long time ago.
Culver's,
but they're both really good.
Culver's is immaculate.
I will say though.
Have you had okay, shut up. They have these I don't know if they're new, but they have my inner fat boy is coming out. They have these little pretzel bites and you can dip them in nacho cheese at Culver's now.
Never had those.
Oh my God.
All right, I gotta check.
In-N-Out does not stand a chance.
So okay, I totally get that take, but just like any other restaurant though, it really does depend on the location, because I will say I have had In-N-Out 3 or 4 times. The 2 times I had it in San Diego, amazing. The 1 time I had it in Sacramento, it was okay. And then I had it in Las Vegas on the Strip, terrible.
Okay.
So I will say it depends, but again, I'm not contradicting your Culver's to In-N-Out, but I like both. I don't eat a whole lot of fast food, but if I'm out in the West Coast, I'm definitely going to hit up an In-N-Out burger.
I get it. You have to do it. You have to hit up In-N-Out. It's one of those things you got to do. But I think, if you guys saw the arguments that I've had with some people about it, I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't convince me. Like, it just doesn't compare in my mind.
Listen, now it's a 2-man argument.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on your team.
Hey, I'm not fighting against you. I'm just saying there are certain locations, just like Chipotle, though. There's some good Chipotles.
You can play devil's advocate.
And there's some bad Chipotles. You know what I mean? I will say that. Like, if there's some restaurants that just don't put out the same Chipotle as Chipotle. But what about Whataburger? Have you had this? And what's the craze on Whataburger? And I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
You're saying it right.
Whataburger?
I think
some people say like Whataburger.
I think that's more of like a down south thing, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know, but somebody was talking about that. Never had. Okay. So then we don't need to worry about that conversation. I was curious because I was listening to another podcast and they were trying to compare In-N-Out to Whataburger, and they were saying Whataburger was way better. So, but I've never had it either. But yeah, no, we'd love to make our way out there. Are you guys having, not to jump subjects here, but are you guys hosting any events, upcoming events, or do you guys plan on launching like more like a public event where you can sign up and do that? Or
So every year we host different events and different tournaments. So we just did our Vibes Go Crazy tournament in Madison. And then what we're planning on doing next year is we're gonna do another Her Vibes event. We're deciding if we're gonna have it this year, like during the football season, like during one of the guys' buys week, like whether it's like in Denver or down in Houston. We're trying to decide that. It's still kind of up in the air. But then we're also going to have out here, we're planning and we're trying to set up our first California tournament. But that won't happen until probably right as the the season's over, so that we can have the whole team together. But next year, currently our schedule of events next year is kind of wild. Like we're going to be in a bunch of different places, like shooting content, different tournaments, different things like that. But the things that we like to do, honestly, right now, a lot of it's just like, it like sparks. It's like, hey, you guys want to go out to this place? Like, who's available this weekend? Let's just go host an event out there. I think we might do something in Columbus over the next few months because a few of our guys are in that area. But for sure, regardless of whatever the event is, we are hosting an event in Houston during Dara's bye week. So we'll have the details about that once we get closer. But that'll be more of like a Top Golf event again, because like those events are easy for us to bring new people and they feel comfortable. Like, hey, I'm just hanging out. I can swing the club if I want to, or if anything, I'm just here for good energy, right?
yeah, I'm not playing 18 holes. I can just hit some balls and get some drinks or whatever it might be, grab some food, socialize.
So we'll be doing that. But next year, like I think, as the season's kind of winding up now, we're just going to be kind of like participating in events versus hosting our own. But once we go into like the new year and the NFL season winds down, we're going to hit the ground running again next year. I think we're shooting for 3 tournaments next year. So we'll see if we can make it happen. But we sure will be back in the Midwest. We'll be back in Madison. We like to have like our annual tournament out there. And then we're playing our California tournament, which we're stoked about. And we'll see where our third one is. Like I said, probably Ohio.
Well, let us know in the Wisconsin one. Like I said, I was telling Dom earlier, we could have a little bit of a border battle over here in Minnesota. So,
hey, I love going out to where you guys are at. I love Minneapolis. Back to the food topic. I don't know how you guys feel about it. My favorite restaurant out in Minneapolis is Braza. Are you guys big Braza guys?
I haven't actually heard. I haven't had Braza. It's right down the street from me.
You guys have to.
I've heard it's really good.
Oh man, I love it. So every time I'm out in Minneapolis, I always go hit up Braza. And then for a long time, me and my brother would traditionally go hit up one of the Juicy Lucy spots because I was a big seafood guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so Matt's, or was a 5-8 Club was the other one?
5-8 Club.
Yeah, there's always the debate of which one's the original. There's
But no, we've hit them all several times. But Braza, man, you guys got to go have it. The chicken there, it's like the shredded rotisserie chicken, and then they have yuca fries. The yuca fries, insane. You guys got to try that.
We're big fans of the Red Cow. Runyon's is like our go-to spot for a lot of things.
Buffalo wings,
right?
mainly, yeah.
Wings.
Runyon's.
Okay, yeah, I've had those once. Yep.
Runyon's,
they're right down the road. We walk there.
Yep.
Runyon's is great. Fuzzies, they have a spot down here now.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a little taco quesadilla, taqueria type thing.
Free House.
I've never been there.
Free House, yeah, it's super good.
See, he doesn't take me places.
I'm trying to think of there's a new sushi place that just opened up, Billy's Sushi. That's supposed to be really good. I'm not a big sushi fan, but my wife loves sushi. And then obviously there's Manny's and Murray Steakhouse. Manny's is amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to Manny's. It's kind of a high-end steakhouse, but it's so good. It's expensive, but it's a good time. I mean, the food is very good. And then if you like seafood, there's the Ocean Air. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Ocean Air. That's downtown as well. It's another really good seafood, which is funny because I'm not a huge seafood fan, but I do get their steak when I go there, which is wild, but they actually have a really good steak. So they have good food regardless. But no, like I said, border battle, that would be sweet. We can gather up some troops and do a little border battle next time. That'd be sweet.
No, for sure. We'll definitely we'll give you guys a heads up. Obviously, you guys will be announcing the stuff on our socials and stuff like that as we get there as well. But yeah, like if I'm probably going to be in Minneapolis at some point over the next few months. Like I said, my older brother's out there, so my nieces and nephew are out there. So I'd love to go out and play uncle for a weekend. So I'm going to try to make it out there. So I'll give you guys a heads up next time I'm out there. But if you guys
Absolutely.
are ever in LA or San Diego, honestly, let us know and we can set something up down here as well.
Appreciate it. No, thanks so much. Oh, Dom, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you want to hang out after, we might have a little like fun idea for you guys.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like we're not gonna talk about it publicly. Like we gotta save some like juicy stuff,
yeah.
but like we might have a fun idea.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, no, thanks so much for taking the time. Appreciate it, and good luck in the future of Vibez Golf Club, man.
Excited to see it grow.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate you, fellas. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Absolutely.